3 tips on how to manage peer relationships. What factors you should consider to make high impact peer relationships. Watch this video to win great peers at the workplace. In a survey, it was found that 30% of employees who had friends at the workplace are 7 times more likely to be producing high quality work and are more engaged at work. This only proves the importance of peer relationships in driving productivity and also engagement. Now, of course, in reality, you will get a range of peers, which could vary from extremely toxic peers who spread negative energy, hyper competitive peers, and very collaborative peers. Handling them becomes a bit tricky. And why I'm saying tricky is because there's an element of love and hate involved in that. You want to help them, but also you have an expectation in return, and both of them has to match to each other. Now, it's very interesting that this relationship is a zero-sum game, right? Because if there's one position where people can get promoted, and if you get it, your peer doesn't get it. If your peer gets it, you don't get it. And hence, there is an element of politics that involves, which can range from healthy politics, which makes everyone more productive, or it could be nasty politics, where it only spreads negative energies. Now, the question still remains, what should you be doing to drive great peer relationship at your workplace? Now, for that, we are going to look at 2 factors. Number 1, degree of authority. Number 2, degree of collaboration. Now, what is degree of authority? Degree of authority is your strengths, your ability to do high performance at your work, in your role, your experience, skills, and also your connection with your boss and the extended important people in the department, because you derive power from there. That's your degree of authority. Degree of collaboration is your openness to support others beyond the call of your duty. Now, of course, goes without saying, degree of collaboration is a more conscious choice. You can change your degree of collaboration easier than your degree of authority, which develops over a period of time. It takes time. Now, what we're going to do, we are going to look at 4 different scenarios of the kind of peer relationship you can have based on your strengths or weaknesses across these 2 factors. So here you go. Here you have 4 quadrants, which are basically the 4 scenarios. If you find yourself in quadrant 1, both factors low, absolutely bad place to be in. If you're not collaborating, if you're not having those authority skills, etc., you will be rejected by everyone, and hence this quadrant we call as quadrant of peer rejection, right? If you move right, where you are in quadrant 2, you have great authority, people are going to respect you for who you are and what you can deliver, but you don't support others, and hence people will be cold and inert towards you. And this is the quadrant we call peer neutrality. If you move to quadrant 3, you have great authority, great skills, and you're also helping others. You will get tremendous support, endorsement, and kind of high visibility, and you are on a fast track if you find yourself in this quadrant. Quadrant 4 is where you have high collaboration, but you don't have authority. Now, there is a risk involved. The risk is you may end up pleasing others. You may end up pandering to the requirements of others, which means people may misuse your humility, your generosity, and kind of offload transactional work at you, or maybe misuse your efforts to serve their own purpose without really giving you back the due credit. So you have to be very careful on that. Now, if you have understood the 4 quadrants, goes without saying that quadrant 3 is the ideal quadrant that you should aspire for. Most of you will find yourself either in quadrant 2 or quadrant 4. If you are in quadrant 2, you need to improve your degree of collaboration, which is far easier to do, right, relatively, and move to quadrant 3. If you are in quadrant 4, you need to focus on building your degree of authority. It takes time, but definitely possible, and then eventually shift to quadrant 3. The question remains, how can you do that? Here are some of the hacks to increase your degree of authority. Number 1, deliver high performance. Strengthen your skills, knowledge, abilities, and showcase your power of delivering what your role requires. Number 2, form strong relationship with your bosses or people with clout. You will derive your power from there. Number 3, make sure you are well networked. internally, beyond your department, so that you know the art of navigating through the stakeholder ecosystem to get things done, and people will respect you for that. Number 4, win external accolades. You could be member of networking circles, chambers of commerce, industry groups, or even have publications which are external to the organization, because you will be able to derive a lot of SME power out of those accolades which are beyond the boundaries of the organization. Number 5, make sure you are very selective in terms of sharing information. Of course, you don't need to be scanty, but use the information that you have to your advantage to kind of portray power, to portray clout over others. Number 6, make sure you keep your commitments. You will definitely gain a lot of your trust. You will definitely gain a lot of trust and faith of your stakeholders, of your peers, if you're able to deliver on your commitment. And last but not the least, you have to really assume a position of authority in relationships. In any relationship, one person will take a higher pedestal and you need to be that. How you derive your power from is upon you. You could derive it from your knowledge, you could derive it from your ability to navigate stakeholders, ability to get things done, relationships, etc. But take that upper position. Don't let the other person take that. And that's a key mantra in you being looked up at. When few people do this, everyone will do that. So let's say you are in quadrant 2 and you want to move to quadrant 3. The area to focus on is the area of collaboration. How? Here are some of the hacks for that. Number 1, form personal connects. Nothing beats that. And connects which are personal are seldom formed through business relationships or transaction. It is formed through coffee table conversation, side conversations, conversations which is outside the premises of office. Do not leave that opportunity. Number 2, make sure that you don't blame others, especially when they are vulnerable, especially in public. Number 3, make sure you don't have judgments on others. Don't be prejudiced on others. Number 4, handle disagreements professionally. Don't get emotional about it. Number 5, don't speak ill of others in their absence. It's very, very abominable to do that. Number 6, feel free to ask your peer feedback. Of course, to those with whom you have personal credibility. They should not misuse that forum to your disadvantage. Last but not the least, give. Nothing beats that. The more you give, the more you get. Just keep in mind that when you are giving, you should not dilute your value in front of others. Now the last thing I'm going to talk about is the necessity for you to adopt an agile approach to peer relationship management. Why I'm saying agile? Because not always stakeholders are friendly or neutral. Sometimes you may encounter very toxic stakeholders who will spread a lot of negative energies, and there is a need on your part to galvanize yourself away from those negative energies. And how can you do that? You can just do that by reducing your degree of collaboration, and in the process you come down probably from quadrant 3 where you are peer accepted to quadrant 2 where you are peer neutral. But of course that is specifically directed to that particular individual. So you have to take a fungible approach to managing your relationship based on the extreme cases of stakeholders or peers that you encounter in your workplace. That's it for today. Please hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel so that my new videos can reach out to you. Thank you. Stay focused.